debugging tests. See chapter index, what is debugging? Next, when debugging is required. Next, how to debug. Next, VBScript debug commands. Debug commands and breakpoint. Next, debug pane. See first, what is debugging? It is development term. Debugging means locating and isolating errors through step-by-step execution. See, locating and isolating errors through step-by-step execution. See, we have two types of execution. At a time execution. At a time means continuous execution. Next, step-by-step execution. See, scripting languages are lightweight languages. At a time compilation happens. If you want to execute scripts step by step, you have to use debug commands. Okay, here I mentioned error term. See, terminology vary from one phase to another. Example, in application life cycle. See, don't confuse software development life cycle, software test life cycle. See, complete one, application life cycle. Software application life cycle. Here, three important phases. One is development phase. Next, testing phase. Last one is Chitra, what is the last phase in application life cycle? Chitra.
Yes, sir. Production, sir.
Good. Production phase. See, in development phase, if developers find any deviation from expected, any mismatch, they call as error or mistake. In testing phase, testers find any deviation from expected, any mismatch, they call as defect, bug. Synonyms are fault. These three only are global terms, universal terms. See, some companies are using issue-like terms. Those are local terms. See, in production phase, end users find any mismatch, they call as failure. Okay. Here, already I told, this debugging is related to development term, so error. So I think all of you familiar with this concept. What is debugging? Locating and isolating errors through step-by-step execution. Next, when debugging is required. Already we discussed, debugging is optional For some tests or test scripts only debugging required. See, we discussed three scenarios. First scenario, test is not showing any errors and providing correct output. No debugging required. See, first scenario, test is not showing, test is not showing any errors and providing correct output, means desired output. And providing correct output. Here debugging not required. Why? Test is showing not showing any errors and providing correct output. No need to debug. Debugging is not required. Next, test is showing errors. Test is showing errors. Suppose if test is showing errors, definitely we can't expect correct output. Here also debugging is optional. Here debugging optional. First rectify the errors. Most of the time you can get correct output. Otherwise you can debug. See, debugging is optional. Next, typical scenario, test is not showing any errors and not providing correct output. No errors, not showing any errors and not providing correct output. Typical scenario. In this scenario, debugging is required. See, final conclusion. Whenever test is not showing any errors and not providing correct output, there debugging is required. See, when this type of situation happens, already we discussed. Suppose at one point of time we have to use x equal to a plus b. As per our test requirement, this is the desired formula. But mistakenly we used multiplication symbol instead of addition operator. We used multiplication operator instead of addition operator. See, it is not either syntax error or runtime error. As per that expression, VBScript evaluates. But our test requirement point of view, it is error. It is human error. We can't get correct output, but no errors. See, scripting syntax point of view, it is not error, but our test requirement point of view, error. See, in order to locate this type of errors, debugging is required. Next, how to debug? How to debug? Using VBScript debug commands and breakpoint, we can debug tests. Using VBScript debug commands and breakpoint, we can debug tests. Virendra, did you join? Virendra. Just a minute. Here important debug commands. And one more thing, this debug, if you want to use debug commands, you need to install Microsoft Debug Viewer software. It is small software below 1 MB. Installation of UFT tool. At the end of the installation, it asks download and install VBScript debugger. You check that option, it will download and install, auto installation. Suppose if you forgot that option, after installation of QTP also, you can download script debugger from Microsoft website and install. See, while installation, you can choose auto installation, otherwise manual installation. See, important debug commands are step into. Virendra, did you join?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir. I
cool.
joined. Just some fluctuations in my system.
Okay, cool. See here, shortcut key is important. Remember shortcut keys. Why? Suppose 100 lines test, 100 lines of code. If you want to execute step by step, 100 times you need to navigate that run menu. Debug commands available in run menu. If you know the shortcut keys, just use shortcut keys. You no need to navigate run menu every time. Step into. What is the functionality of step into? I will explain. Next important command, step over. Shortcut key F10. Next one, step out. Shortcut key Shift plus F11. See, plus only understanding point of view. Shift F11. Next, breakpoint to pause the execution. Don't confuse, breakpoint is different, wait statement is different. Wait statement waits specified time, but breakpoint indefinite time, user action required, user operation. Next, debugging pane. Okay, before going to discuss debugging pane, it is a UFT tool feature. Just I will show an example, concentrate. Generate the login script. And run it once, dry run. Over. Next, make it as a reusable component. Function, suppose function name login, arguments agent password. See, pass arguments as parameters. Just call the function, call login of agent password. Run the script. Executing. Make it as external function. It is internal function. Defining and calling within the script. Make it as external function. You know how to make it. Launch notepad like editor. Paste the code. Save as VBS file. Suppose abc.vbs. Associate the library file with UFT tool. You know how to associate. File, settings, resources, click add icon, browse path of the library file. Okay, associated, just a minute. Dim A comma B comma C, A equal to 10, multiplication, exponentation, division. See, in this small script, some normal statements are there and one function call also there. Normal statements and one function call. See, if you want to execute this script, select run command. It will execute continuously, no break. Executed. Next, I want to execute this script step by step. Use debug commands. See, important debug commands. Step into. Step into has 3 functionalities. Whenever you select step into for first time, then it starts the execution. See, it starts the execution. Next, once again you select a step into command, it executes one statement at a time. One statement at a time. Next, if it is function call, it doesn't execute all function statements at a time. It opens the function and executes one statement at a time, one function statement at a time. See, if it is function call, it opens the function and executes one function statement at a time. See, these are the three functionalities of step into command. Tell me, Ganga, what is step into command? Ganga, can you hear me? Or not responding? You tell me, Deepak.
So when we select step into, it starts script execution.
It starts execution. That is one functionality.
Then it executes step one by one.
One statement at a time.
Yeah, one statement at a time. And if it is a functional call,
not functional. Function call.
Yeah, function call. Then it opens the function and then executes it step by step.
One statement at a time. Don't forget this one. Step by step is different. Okay, relation is there. One statement at a time. For every statement, user need to select step into command again. See, run menu, step into. Observe, step over, step out in disabled state. They won't start execution. See, select step into, execution started. Next, select step into, F11 shortcut key. See, one statement at a time. Next, function call. It opens the function and executes one function statement at a time. Next, normal statements. Over. Next, step over command. First, it has two functionalities. First of all, it doesn't start the execution. After execution starts, then you can use this command. It has two functionalities. What are the two functionalities? It executes one statement at a time. See, for executing one statement at a time, already we have step into command. Then what is the specialty of step over? Okay, after execution starts, then you can use either step into or step over for executing one statement. But one specialty is there. If it is function call, it executes all function statements at a time. Suppose functions, reusable components, already tested, already we used, again we no need to execute step by step. Then you select step over. It executes all function statements at a time. It executes all function statements at a time. And one more thing, once you open the function using step into, then step over also helpless. It executes one function statement at a time. Before opening the function, if you select step over, then it will execute all function statements at a time. Means at a time means continuously. Once you open the function, suppose in our function 80 statements are there, I opened the function using step into. After 4 or 5 statements, I don't want to execute remaining statements step by step. I want to execute remaining all statements at a time. No way. This step over command won't work. For that we have to use step out. Okay. Before step out, you concentrate on step over. Anyhow, we have to select step into for starting the execution. See, select step into, selected, execution started. Next, now step over enabled, select step over, normal statements, it executes one statement at a time. See, after execution starts, if you select either step into or step over, purpose same, they execute one statement at a time. So I am selecting F10, function call. Here select step over, it will execute all function statements at a time, means continuously. Next, remaining normal statements. You can use either step into or step over. Tell me, Virendra, what are the two functionalities of step over command?
Sir, it executes one statement at a time, and it executes all function statements at a time.
But one condition we discussed now. What is that condition? Once you open the function is using step into, then step over helpless. It executes one function statement at a time only. Observe. Suppose execution, start the execution step into. Next, step over or step into. Now function call, use step into, function opened. Now try to use step over, one statement at a time only. Okay. Next, step out command. It has only one functionality. First of all, it doesn't start the execution and it doesn't execute normal statements. It executes only function statements. When we choose step out command, suppose we opened the function using step into command. After executing some statements, our problem rectified. We don't want to execute remaining function statements step by step. Then you select step out command. It will execute all remaining function statements at a time. See, only one functionality. It executes all remaining function statements at a time. Observe. First select step into command. Now step into and step over enabled. Still step out command in disabled state. Why? It doesn't execute normal statements. Whenever you open the function, then it will enable. Next, come out from the function, it will disable. See, step over either step into or step over for executing one statement. Now select step into, function opened. Now step over also helpless. See, step out enabled. Step over, one statement at a time only. Select step out command. It will execute all remaining function statements at a time. Now, normal statements. See again, step out disabled. It doesn't execute normal statements. Over. Next, see, these are the three important debug commands. See, once again, first command, step into, three functionalities. It starts the execution. Next, it executes one normal statement at a time. Next, if it is function call, it opens the function and executes one function statement at a time. Next, step over. Step over has two functionalities. First one, it executes one normal statement at a time. Next, if it is function call, it executes all function statements at a time. But one condition, once you open the function using step into, then step over also helpless. It executes one statement at a time only. Before opening the function, if you select step over, it will execute all function statements at a time. Next, step out. It executes function statements only. It doesn't start the execution. It doesn't execute normal statements. See, once you open the function using step into, then step over also helpless. If you want to execute all remaining function statements at a time, select step out. It executes all remaining function statements at a time. Next, breakpoint to pause the execution. To pause the execution. Next, Virendra, guess the functionality. Guess the functionality of breakpoint command.
It stops a particular line which we put the breakpoint.
Okay, stops. Okay, that is functionality. What is the use?
To check the errors from.
Check the errors. Okay. Say, so far we discussed two types of test execution. See, test run or execution, synonyms. So far we discussed, we used two types of test execution. One is at a time execution. Another is step by step execution. At a time execution using run command, using UFT run command. Next, step by step execution using VBScript debug commands. Next, hybrid execution. Suppose I want to execute some part of the code at a time, some part of the code step by step. then you can choose breakpoint. Suppose I have 150 lines of code. First 50 lines at a time, middle 50 lines step by step, last 50 lines again at a time. Then you can use breakpoints. See, using VBScript debug commands and breakpoint. Understand the purpose of breakpoint, Anmal? Anmol, why you are not responding? Okay. Mohan Raj, understand the purpose of breakpoint?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of breakpoint? For hybrid execution, means some portion of the code at a time, some portion of the code step by step. See how to place mouse pointer before the statement, desired statement. Next, select insert or remove breakpoint. Same navigation for inserting as well as removing. See, once again, if you select this one, insert or remove breakpoint, it will remove. Otherwise, very simple. Place mouse pointer and click. Oh, it's not working. Otherwise, use not working. Okay. Otherwise, use F9. Place mouse point. Place cursor. Next, use F9.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, sir. I am from mobile today.
Okay, cool. See, observe. I divided the script into 3 portions. First portion, step by step. Middle portion, at a time. Again, last portion, step by step. First portion, step by step. Select debug commands. Middle portion at a time. Select continue command. Already we are in run state. That's why continue. At a time execution. Again, last portion, step by step. Select debug commands. Over. Next, debug pane is there. What is debug pane? It is UFT tool feature. It is used to debug tests with the help of VBScript debug commands. See, it is used to debug tests with the help of VBScript debug commands. It is used to debug tests with the help of VBScript debug commands. Remember, without debug pane, without this feature, we can use debug commands directly. But without VBScript debug commands, we can't use this feature debug pane. Understand the concept, Virendra? What is the condition here?
Without using this debug pane also, we can able to run the test.
Concentrate. Deepak, tell me, what is the condition?
Without using debug pane, we can use a debug command to debug the test. But without debug command, we cannot use the debug pane.
Good. See, without this feature, we can use VBScript debug commands directly to debug tests. But without VBScript debug commands, we can't use this feature. Then you can ask one question, and what is the use of this feature? See, advantages are there. Two important advantages: watch variables, next, change values of variables at runtime. Change values of variables at runtime. Observe. What is the advantage of watching variables? Suppose at one point of time, X variable has to take 170, value 170. Some formula is generating the value. It has to take 170, but it is taking 120. See, based on that, we are not getting correct output. So, by watching variables, we can observe whether the variables are taking correct values or not. Next, change values of variables. What is the advantage of this feature? See, without disturbing the original values, we can check with different values. Suppose script, as per script, a variable value 10. Without disturbing that value, we have to suppose we want to check with different values. Just trial runs, with different values. See, you can change values at runtime. See, these are the two important advantages of debug pane. Just a minute. See, view menu, debug. Here, launch watch pane. Next, console. See, watch pane. Start, run, step into. Suppose I am watching suppose I want to watch C variable. Or A, B, C. Suppose if you want to remove variables, select cross icon. Observe animal. It is showing now value.
Yes, sir.
See, C variable has to take 30. Yes, it is taking correct value. So now A10, B4, C 10,000. See, this is about watching variables. Next, change values of variables. See, after taking the value, then change. Variables take latest values. Now observe, A value 10 as per script, but I want to check with another value. Suppose A equal to 25. Enter. Next, run the script. Next, B as per script 20, but I want to check with another value. B equal to 50. Observe in this watch pane. See, observe Mohan Raj. As per script, A value 10, B value 20. But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we changed the values. A 25, B 50. But what is the C value? What will be the C value? 75 na?
Yes, sir.
From the script. See, it is taking 75 as per user defined values. Just a minute.
Sir.
Ah,
In QTP, we have a shortcut key, something Alt F5 to add the variable in the watch. Is there anyone here?
where? For watching variables,
And
here no shortcut key available.
okay.
See, observe, as per script, agent ABCD password Mercury. Suppose for agent I want to use another value. Agent equal to some Mumbai. String value na, use double quotes. Enter. Observe. Observe Mohan Raj. As per script, agent name ABCD na, but we change it to Mumbai na temporarily.
Yes, sir.
See, this is about debugging tests, and one small defect also there in this debugging test. Observe. I am taking new test. Launch debug console. Observe one small defect. Chitra, what is the small defect in debug Pane?
Yes, sir. Previous script value is showing here.
Showing na?
Yeah.
It is not clearing the old values. When it clears the values after relaunching the tool, after relaunching.
We need to close it and then.
Yes, again launch. Okay, this is about debugging tests.